Okay, factorising. Now when we factorise something, what we're saying is what times what will give us what we want. So for example, if we were given the number 12 and they said factorise 12, now I know that 2 times 6 is 12. So I factorise 12. Okay, now I also know that 3 times 4 is 12, 1 times 12 is 12, and the inverse of all of these. Okay, so that's factorising a number. Now factorising generally we come across in algebra. Yes, I know it's your favourite subject, but it's algebra. So for example, if they said we have 6x plus 4 and they want us to factorise this. Okay, so the general rule is the biggest number and the smallest power. Okay, you can see that I write on here the same as I do on the whiteboard. Totally understandable. There's not even a word. So 6x plus 4, if we factorise that, so the biggest number, now I know the biggest number is 6, but what's the biggest number that will divide into 6 and 4? Now the biggest number I can think of is 2. So then I open a bracket. Now I just divide this number into here. So 2's into 6 is 3, and that will be x, because 2 times 3x gives me 6x. Okay, the same way as 2 times 6 gives me 12. Plus, now 2 times what gives me 4. I can see that that's 2. So that's this being factorised to this. Okay, so let's say we have 10x plus 20. So we need to factorise this. So the biggest number that will go into 10 and 20, well, the biggest number I can think of is 10 itself. So 10 would come outside of the bracket. Open the bracket. Now 10's into 10 goes once. So if you want, you can write 1x, because 10 times 1x will give me 10x. Yeah, that makes sense. And then 10's into 20 goes 2. Now we tend not to write 1 in front of an unknown or a variable. So if you write the 1, that's fine, but try and get into the habit of, if we get 1a, 1b, 1c, that we just write a, b and c. So this is the answer to this. Okay, so if we've got 25x plus 15, and they say factorise, then the biggest number I can see that will go into 15 and 25 is 5. So I pull that out of the bracket. So 5's into 25 goes 5. And remember, this must be x, because 5 times 5x will give me the 25x I want, plus 5 times 3 will give me 15. So I get this answer. Okay, now sometimes you could get something along these lines. So let's say we have x squared plus 3x. Now we know the x squared is 1. okay, because we have 1x squared and we have 3. So the only number that will go into 1 and 3 is 1, so we never use 1. So now we look at the smallest power. So when I talk about the smallest power, I'm talking about the letters. Okay. Now we have x squared and we have x. Now I know x is less than x squared. Okay. For example, I know that 10 is less than 10 squared, because 10 squared is 100, whereas 10 is just 10. So in the same way, x is less than x squared. So I pull the x out of the bracket. Now x times what will give me x squared? Now x times x will give me x squared, because anything times itself is squared. So I get x squared. Now x times what will give me 3x? Well, x times 3 will give me 3x, okay, because 3 times x is the same as x times 3, and 3 times x is 3x, okay. The danger here is people see x squared and they want to put 2 sets of brackets in, okay. We don't want to do that, okay. We have no number value after here to make it a quadratic. So if we have 6x squared plus 4x, okay, and they want us to factorize this. So remember, biggest number, smallest power. So we look at the numbers first. So the biggest number that will go into 4 and 6, now that would be 2. And the smallest power, well, we have x and x squared, so x is the smallest power. So we just write x. Then we open our bracket and work at this speed. So first we deal with the numbers. So 2 times what will give me 6? Well, I know that's 3. And then what times x will give me x squared? Well, I know that x times x gives me x squared. So 2x times 3x will give me 6x squared. So this part now is done. So now I deal with this part. So plus, now what times 2 gives me 4? Well, that would be 2. Okay, so 2x times 2 would give me 4x. It can't be another x in here, because that would give me 2x times 2x, which would give me 4x squared. So 2x times 2 will give me 4x. So we just close the bracket on that, and that's our answer. So we'll do one more. So let's say we have 10x squared plus 15x. So again, the biggest number, and the biggest number that goes into 10 and 15 is 5. My lowest power of the x's is x, so that comes out, and then I open the bracket. Now 5 times 2 will give me 10, and x times x will give me x squared. Okay, sorry. So x times x will give me, x times x will give me x squared. So then I deal with this part. Now 5 times 3 will give me 15. So 3 lots of 5x will give me 15x. Okay, so we factorised this statement. Okay, now this does take practice, and you need to do it again, and again. Okay, and we can factorise far more complex numbers than this. Okay, but in the exam, these are the sort of things that are most likely to arise. Okay, so I hope that helps, and just practice.